Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Histerature with Holly. I'm sitting in my car, I'm about to go to roller derby training, but I just finished my latest book and I really wanted to record my thoughts before I forgot. So I've just read An Archive of Happiness by Elizabeth Reader. I've not read anything of hers before. She's a Scottish novelist and it's set in the mid-north of Scotland. And I love Scotland. I love Scottish literature. I just love hearing the Scottish accent. Let's face it, it's delightful. And so that was one of the reasons that attracted me to the book. But the thing that I loved about the book was that it follows a family through the challenges of a particularly tragic era in their lives. I won't tell you exactly what happens because that will spoil the book. But the thing that really struck me was that it makes you sort of think a lot about family dynamics, about how you deal with estranged members, how you deal with parents, children, when children move away from their parents, when children make choices that parents don't agree with, when parents abandon their children, when people don't feel they can talk to each other, when role models are lacking, or it really explores that beautiful family dynamic. And then when the tragedy occurs, it really explores it raised the question, how do people deal with things they feel are nonsensical, that make no sense? How do you deal with a tragedy that makes no sense at all, that should never have happened, that comes out of nowhere? How do people deal with that? And I guess the novel explores the way the family does do that. You know, how do both families on each side of this tragedy deal with the loss? The practicalities of moving on, the relationship challenges that it creates. And I guess, especially with COVID at the moment, so many people are dying of that, and how death rates have increased significantly in the world. How do people cope with that? I don't know. It's really horrific. It's not a happy book, but a fascinating one. Really, one of the other things that really resonated for me was when one of the main characters is pregnant. She's a very practical person. She's building her own house on a croft, and she gets pregnant, and so she's having to deal with the changes in her body, the morning sickness, the way, belly's growing, all that stuff, the tiredness. And she's so frustrated with that, and that really resonated with me because I found that when I was pregnant both times, people treated me like an invalid and it drove me crazy. I was a very fit, active person. I played roller derby. And I hated it. I hated it that I couldn't do all the things that I usually would be able to do when I was sick or when I was really big. And that resonated with me and made me think, like a lot of women, I think, feel like that, who are very fit and active when they're pregnant. So there's two connections to life from this one, An Archive of Happiness by Elizabeth Reader. Highly recommend it. And if you like this content, please subscribe by hitting the button below. See you next time.